Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury, and today's a book review day. We're gonna do a book review in the park, because why not? It is a beautiful day. You know, we are on the cusp of fall. You know, it will be snowing before we know it. So I'm gonna enjoy the beautiful days that are left to the season. So Mercury, what book did you read? I read Shadow of the Wind, which is written by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I've only seen it written, so I'm hoping I got that right. But this was a really interesting book. And I want to be able to do this without giving away too many spoilers. So I want to give you some context. And the best way that I can explain this book is sort of comparing two different medias that it reminded me of while I was reading it. The first one is Les Mis, because there is a plot line of like a somewhat nefarious inspector who is in pursuit of somebody, and it is very much like a Javert type of a character. The other media that I would say it reminded me of was there was a movie called Velvet Goldmine with Ewan McGregor and John Rhys Meyers from many years back. And the reason it reminded me of that movie is there's the plot of that movie is somebody who is a fan sort of following somebody who is a star and the parallels in their life and how that intersects. And that is like a main theme in this book. So in Shadow of the Wind, the main character gets a hold of a book and then becomes very inquisitive about the author of said book. Now, it's very peculiar, it's very mysterious. There's not a lot of other books out there, and there's a lot of mystery and a lot of events going on around the remaining books by this author. So it leads this person sort of down this rabbit hole of like curiosity of who is this author, what is he about, what other works has he created? I want to know more, I'm curious, what else is out there? And as he starts going through this exploration, all these parallels unfold and all of these similarities between the author and the main character of this book. And it's sort of that journey of discovering. And there are a few characters sprinkled in that connect the dots, so to say. So what I mean by that is those particular characters, they interact with both the main character and with that author character. And they sort of connect these two different storylines that are being told sort of simultaneously, even though they're sort of like one generation apart. They're, you know, the stuff that happened to the author happened first. He would be a little bit older than the main character. And then the setting of this is like 1940s Barcelona. So it's like around the time of the Spanish Civil War, and then before World War II and after World War II. So it was a very tumultuous time period that it was set in as well. So, did I like the book? Yeah, I did. World building. It created an immersive landscape. When they went into buildings, I could tell what the architecture was. I could tell what the vibes were. The lightness, the cast of sun, the weather. All of these things were described in ways that, like, I got it. I was there. I was in the story with these characters. I got it. And the emotional connections that were established throughout were described in the same way. I felt connected. I felt like I understood what the protagonist was going through. I understood the wants and needs of these characters. I understood why, like what their motivations were. It really was an immersive story. But one thing that this book got me thinking about is sort of like, why do we as fans have these connections to I'm going to say celebrity, but like, you know, whether it's an author, a movie star, a musician, like there's something that we feel connected to about their work. What is it and why does that happen? So I have my own theories about that. And I think that whether it's the person themselves in whatever persona they're putting out there, or through the creative works that they have made and are published to a grand audience, there's something about it that really, really resonates with, for me, right? Like, I'll use myself as an example. Like, there are certain things that certain artists say or do that really, really resonate and just make me feel connected. But why? What is it? It's not just that I enjoy or appreciate it, it's deeper than that. It's an appreciation. So it makes me feel like there's some sort of like an understanding, like, like that age-old question of like, if you could have like coffee with one famous person, who would it be? And I think that's the entry point to this conversation. I don't think that's the point of it. I think that's where you enter into this, because it's not about who you would pick. It's about what would you talk about and why. Why did you pick that person? What led you to that decision? Because of what you wanted to discuss. What did you want to find out? And for me, whenever I answer that question, if I'm unpacking this question and down this train of thought, it's did they approach the art from the way that I interpreted the art? And in this book, because of these parallels, it sort of led me down this rabbit hole of thought of, what is similar. Because in this book, the protagonist, in this book, the main character had a tremendous amount in common with the author. And I don't want to give away spoilers, but, it's like perception versus actual. There were things that actually they did have in common, and it sort of evolved the story, and it made it pretty interesting to see it unfold, because those perceptions were actuals. So it was a great journey to be on with these characters, and I appreciated the time that I spent reading it. So would I recommend it? Yeah, I really enjoyed reading Shadow of the Wind. So if you want a good story, it's a coming of age story, but it's definitely a great coming of age story tied in with all of this other stuff. And like I said, there are multiple storylines in it, and some of these subplots could spin off into their own story easily. Like the subplot with the inspector, like that could easily have been its own novel. It could have easily been its own tale to tell, because that was like a deep character that really had a lot that could be unpacked, so to say. So yeah, just these characters, the worlds that it created, there was so much there. It was so rich and so detailed and immersive, and really reeled me. I was gonna say really pulled me in, but it came in to reeled me in. But yeah, that too. It got me in. I enjoyed it. So Shadow of the Wind, definitely recommend. So I guess with that, I am done for the day. I'll see you all real soon. And until then, stay inspired. Bye, everyone. Take care.